Okay, let's talk about weak points in the essay. The main thing that I saw, the overarching thing that I saw, has to deal with a change in your thesis. Your thesis seems to change by the end of the essay, and that's something you want to watch out for. Now, it's a subtle change, but it's a change nonetheless. So pay attention to the phrasing here. This characterization reflects the narrator's attitude, right? The narrator's attitude as sympathetic towards McTeague. This is good because that's what the prompt was asking for. It was asking for the narrator's attitude towards McTeague. But then look how it's shifted by the end of your paper. The author's attitude towards McTeague is shown as compassionate throughout the passage. Now you're talking about the author's attitude towards McTeague, which is different from the narrator. The author and the narrator are not the same person. It's a subtle difference, but it's an important one, and AP readers are going to be sensitive to that. The author again is not the same person as the narrator. So what I'd like to see is to not see this shift away from narrator to author. I'm not sure where exactly the shift happens, but it does happen. I want to say like midway through your essay. So watch out for that. And then while we're on the subject of the narrator's attitude, I feel like for the way the essay functions, it kind of treats that aspect of the prompt kind of tangentially, right? It's you talk about the literary devices and how they characterize McTeague, and then the essay kind of has a sentence at the end which talks about the author's sympathy. So if we look at your initial paragraph here, you do a good job. Your initial body paragraph, rather, you do a good job of explaining the lonely tone. You have excellent examples here, excellent pieces of evidence. Quote, he made but few acquaintances, that reinforces that idea that McTeague is lonely. And you do an excellent job of kind of dissecting that apart. But then you only get around to the author's. This appears to be where we switch from narrator to author. But you only get to the author's sympathy for McTeague and the author's attitude. Again, that should be the narrator's attitude. But you only get around to the narrator's attitude at the very tail end of your essay, or the very tail end of each individual paragraph. You do it again in your final body paragraph as well. So again, like I feel like that should be more of the focus of the essay, or you should have more to say about it than one sentence. So, and I feel like the upper level essays do that. They can kind of delve into the complexity of the narrator's attitude throughout. That's the overarching thing. And when we get into scoring, that's going to be the biggest reason why I kind of scored it the way that I did. A couple of small things that we're going to go over in class. You have these numbers that I've marked on here. I will have a handout for you in class that explains these. But I think I'm going to go over both of these together in just as a class, because it's something I'm noticing in all the essays. 18 is passive voice. Again, I'll go more in depth about what that is in class. But passive voice makes your writing clunkier and wordier than it needs to be, so watch out for that. And then 20 is verb tense shift. This is just something that we'll just have to get used to. I think every AP writer that I've had has kind of had to learn this rule because it's not intuitive. It seems like it goes against what you know about the way grammar functions. But basically, even though the story happened in the past, you're going to write about it in present tense. Literary analysis needs to be in present tense, and it's a very small thing, but trust me, it's important. It is the difference, I would argue, in at least 1 point on the prose essay. So it's the difference between a 6 and a 7, for example, or an 8 and a 9. So it matters. It's a very small thing that you can fix that will bump your score up a point. So the example that I've got here, these details allowed the reader to understand that McTeague was a simplistic man who concentrated only on his work. That should be, these details allow the reader, again, allow in present tense, to understand that McTeague is a simplistic man, again, is in present tense, who concentrates only on his work. So watch out for those, and I think that's it. So scoring, I was torn between a 4 and a 5. I went ahead and scored low. I'd rather score more. I'd rather be more difficult than the actual AP exam, just so the AP exam comes off as easier. The main reason why I scored it as a 4 instead of a 5 is again that idea that it's the thesis seems to change over time, and you only kind of deal with the narrator's attitude in a couple sentences in the essay, where I feel like it should be a pretty big focal point of the essay. So I want you to revise this, tweak the things that I've noted on here, but the main thing that you're going to want to do is expand a little bit more on the narrator's attitude and try and delve into some complexity here. There's evidence that the narrator feels pity for McTeague, for example, because the narrator understands that that McTeague has ambitions that he cannot possibly achieve, right, through no fault of his own. And I feel like the upper level essays kind of deal with the complexity of that emotion. You do talk about how they're compassionate, right? The narrator is compassionate, and that's a good start. But the narrator is kind of critical too. So it's kind of this weird feeling. And again, I feel like the upper level essays kind of delve into the weirdness of that feeling, because yes, he's sympathetic, the narrator, but he's also critical. He describes him as dumb as a horse, right? So there's this level of irony that the narrator is enjoying describing McTeague to us, on the one hand, because we get these kind of ridiculous images of McTeague's terrible dentist parlor, but the narrator also kind of feels some sympathy towards him too, because look at this poor guy, he's trying his best, right? So if you can expand on that, I feel like you're going to have a really strong essay on your hands. As far as where I expect you to be as a writer at this point in the semester, this is exactly where I expect everyone to be. I expect them to be in the 4 to 5 range. So do not despair. This is not a bad sign at all. You've done a great job, especially for your first AP Prose essay. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. If you have any questions, as always, come find me in class. I will be more than happy to go over them with you. If you need help as you revise, call me over in class. But yeah, that's all I've got for this video. Great work. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in class very soon.